never thought anything else other than that this was a perfect family, and the homicides came to really as a shock.
The FBI's top 10 most wanted list contains the nation's most dangerous criminals, terrorists, rapists, and murderers. Among this notorious ranking is a man whose crimes brought him to East Tennessee. In tonight's Appalachian Unsolved, WBIR 10 News reporter Leslie Ackerson takes us on the hunt for William Bradford Bishop Jr.
To a stranger, it might look like he had it all.
This is Bishop's beautiful family. You know, you would have thought that they were the perfect family.
William Bradford Bishop Jr. had a lovely wife and 3 sons.
They seemed to be very happy. They would go to the beach, they'd go skiing.
A nice home, a good job, and an impressive resume to go with it.
He was fluent in 5 languages. He was very intelligent.
But in his mind, the picture-perfect world he had built was slowly shattering.
So there were things going on in that family behind the closed doors that the community certainly didn't know.
It was March 1st, 1976, when the father and husband killed his entire family.
I first heard the name William Bradford Bishop literally the day that the homicides occurred.
Sheriff Darren Popkin took over the reins in Montgomery County 8 years ago, but he knew the case long before he put on the badge.
So I was 14. I had some friends that lived literally right down the street from them.
42 years later, he and his team are re-examining what happened inside this picturesque home.
Bishop was one that kind of set goals in his life to reach.
And at the age of 39, Brad Bishop had already hit some high ones. The Yale graduate married his high school sweetheart, joined the Army, and traveled the world, eventually settling in an affluent Maryland town with his family and landing a job in foreign policy with the State Department.
And he wanted to portray this perfect family that was kind of carefree, had lots of money, and actually they were running out of money.
On March 1st, everything would change.
Bishop was at work that day. He told his supervisor he was not feeling well and he needed to leave.
On the way home, Bishop emptied his bank account, filled up his car with gas, and bought a shovel and small hammer. Then he went home with a heinous plan in place. Investigators say his wife Annette would die first.
He took the hammer that he had bought and beat her over the head and killed her in just a terrible, terrible, horrendous way. The boys were already in their pajamas. They were all in bed. He went room by room and beat them to death one by one. The blood pattern will show you that he goes back to the front of the house. It was then he killed his own mother. The anger that he showed when he committed these murders is beyond even comprehension.
After the massacre, Bishop loaded the bodies in the back of the family station wagon and grabbed his tools and the family dog Leo.
And then he set out on an odyssey, driving 6 to 8 hours in the middle of the night.
Heading south, Bishop drove his car, turned hearse, to a rural area in North Carolina.
Early that morning, he finds a logging road. You never would have known it was there. He gets down the road, takes out his shovel, digs a grave deep enough to be able to bury all 5 of the bodies.
After pouring gasoline over the grave, Bishop lights it on fire, a blaze that gets the attention of a nearby park ranger who discovers the grisly scene.
There was no identification on any of these people.
But Bishop had left his tools behind.
There was a small sticker on the shovel from a hardware store here in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Meanwhile, in the Bishop's hometown,
some neighbors were starting to get concerned. There was newspapers piling up in front of the home. They called 911. Didn't take more than a step to get inside the front door to see that something horrific had occurred.
Several days passed before North Carolina and Maryland authorities made the connection. And with one body missing from the grave, they had their suspect. Soon, Brad Bishop was indicted for the 5 homicides and the race began. But Bishop had a head start.
It was 17 days later, the next basically lead came in.
A sighting 500 miles away in East Tennessee.
The station wagon that Mr. Bishop was driving was located in the Great Smoky Mountains in Elkmont Park.
A car, but no Bishop.
Once he walked away from the station wagon, he vanished.
If you have any information about this case, contact the number on your screen. Next week, we take a trip to the Smokies and learn about Bishop's last whereabouts and where authorities think he's hiding.